Welcome back to Rodecast, guys. Hope you're doing well out there. I'm your host, Rod, as always. And in this video, we're going to be looking at another awesome ICE arrest in California. And of course, the predictable people are mad that a literal drug trafficker is being arrested in front of court. And we're going to look at all their outrageous comments here. And this actually proves what I told you guys in several of my videos, which is that the open borders left doesn't want the actual criminal illegal aliens to be arrested either. Those are people who broke into the country where they already committed a federal crime. But aside from that, they are committing other crimes inside America. And ICE is going after these people and arresting them. And the left tells us continuously, the open borders left, they support ICE when they arrest actual criminals. This guy's a literal criminal. And he was arrested, and yet they're still whining. This shows that they don't really care if it's somebody who's committed other crimes aside from breaking into our country. No matter what, they're going to support the illegal. So in this video, I want to, do my usual critiques, but also I want to give credit to the ICE agents here because they really earned that bonus and their paycheck here because they literally grabbed him by all fours and threw him into the car. This video was awesome.
LA County's top judge is denouncing ICE tonight after agents seized a man who went to court trying to settle a legal case. Legal experts warn that scaring people away from courthouses could impact the justice system for everyone.
How, pray tell, can it possibly affect the justice system for everybody? Because some illegal, literal criminal drug trafficker was arrested by ICE in front of the court, that's going to somehow affect other people from coming to court? Why? How? How could it possibly do that? Because criminals are afraid to show up to court. They're afraid anyways. That's why they're arrested by the police. Okay, that's a ridiculous comment. And by the way, they never come back to prove that point, that somehow this is going to deter real Americans from showing up to court because some illegal was arrested in front of the court. These are the kind of comments that the local media always uses to try to make it seem like what happens to the illegals is going to happen to us. They're trying to fearmonger the general population because of what ICE is doing and somehow try to scare us that this is going to happen to you too, not just the illegals. No, it's not going to happen to us because we're citizens. Okay, ICE can't do anything with people who are actually citizens because as soon as they get a hearing, the case is going to be dismissed and the person's going to be returned. So there's no point in ICE arresting actual citizens. They're going after illegals. That's who they want. That's their job. Immigration violation enforcement.
Can you get me, please?
The video is intense. A man, clearly desperate, begs for help.
Hey, can you get me, please? Estoy en mi coche.
As immigration agents pick him up by his arms and legs and carry him to a truck. He called out his name, Stephen Reyes, to witnesses who pressed the men grabbing him to see a warrant or IDs.
Can you guys identify yourselves?
It's not unlike so many other ICE detentions, but this one happened as Reyes was leaving a courthouse in downtown LA, reportedly after attending a preliminary hearing on drug charges he's facing after an arrest last month.
And as for the lady who asked, who are you guys, to identify themselves? They identified themselves when other bystanders came when they were doing the arrest. Okay, so I don't know if this lady heard it or not, but they identified themselves as ICE agents before they did the arrest. Okay, because they were talking to the guy and then he refused to go. He was hanging onto that metal awning. That's when they started dragging him away. This agent right here, the one with the hat here, on the right there on the screen, this guy literally has a badge that says ICE on it. So talk about not identifying themselves. Their identity is right on them. They're all wearing badges somewhere.
Immigration agents pick him up by his arms and legs and carry him to a truck. He called out his name, Stephen Reyes, to witnesses who pressed the men grabbing him to see a warrant or IDs.
Can you guys identify yourselves?
Trisha McLaughlin, who we love, she's the best spokesperson that's ever been for DHS. She confirmed that this guy was a Guatemalan illegal who committed drug trafficking inside the U.S. and that's why he was arrested, and that's part of why he was in court. And so it's been confirmed. She went on to say this criminal entered our country under the Biden administration in 2024. A judge issued a final order of removal on March 27. Now that's all they need. As soon as you have a final order, you can remove him. It doesn't matter if he's facing criminal charges inside the U.S. There's no obligation for ICE to honor any kind of local charges. They might honor it if they want to see him prosecuted, but they can ship him out as soon as they have a final order of removal. Okay, so this guy was gone a long time ago because ICE wasn't able to do their job under the last president, but now they're doing it. Okay. The best thing about Trump is he's actually living up to the immigration claims that he made. He's actually trying to do mass deportations. There's obviously blockages in the courts, and that's normal. You know, some people don't agree, so they sue. So this is how our system works. Everybody gets to have their voice, and they're going to lose at the Supreme Court, and these people are going to get shipped out anyways. But we got to do it as fast as we can because he only has 3.5 more years, whatever, right? So we got to go as fast as possible. And with the funding that ICE got, they're ramping things up. So there's going to be more arrests outside of court. Okay. And as long as it's legal, they can do it. As soon as the immigration hearings have happened, they can ship them out. All they need is that final order of removal.
What we do know is the legal community does not support it. Defense attorney Lou Shapiro is a former public defender.
Yeah, we're seeing it.
Really, public defenders, people who defend criminals for a living, are not happy that their criminal clients are getting shipped out of here. So there goes their paycheck. Interesting. Nobody could ever predict that.
On the ground level in the courts that people are just not showing up to their court date because they're afraid they've already completed their case and they have to show like progress on something that they've done. And they're afraid just to come to court to show progress on community service, let's say, because they realize that could result in a trip to Mexico instead. And it's sad.
I think that's awesome. If they don't come to court, that's a win for ICE too, because then we can issue a warrant for them and we can arrest them. And then ICE can ship them out even faster. We can get the local police to help too if they're willing. So that's a win-win. If they don't come to court, that's their problem.
Because people feel that there's no hope, that there's just nothing good can come of this for them, even if they try to do the right thing.
His comments echo.
The right thing is to not break into my country, into the country that my ancestors built. Their ancestors didn't build this country, so they have no right to be here. You talk about this guy, Shapiro guy is talking about rights. What rights? Where did these rights come from? For people who'd have nothing to do with America. They can just break in here as if they were me, as if they were some regular citizen who's been here for multiple generations. Who are they to just come here and get the same rights that I have? That's insane. It's like me going to China and claiming that I am the same as a Han Chinese person, an ethnically Chinese person whose ancestors have been there for thousands of years. Who am I? I have no rights in China, should have no rights in China, because I'm not Chinese. Okay. Blood and heritage matters. The way that we are looking at the world right now, most people are looking at the world right now, is the exact opposite. Any loser can break into a country and have the same rights as a native citizen. That's what the left and a lot of people on the right think. That it's all about the individual. No, our ancestors and our history matters. And if you abandon that, we are nothing. Okay. If we completely detach from, we're floating up in the air with no connection, no roots to the ground, and no connections to our ancestors and nature herself. Because it is by the blood of our ancestors that we stand here today. It's flowing through your veins right now. Okay? To say that history doesn't matter is to say that our DNA, which was passed down to us by our ancestors, doesn't matter. And that's not that's not an accurate perspective. Okay? If you care about science and facts and abiding by the real world and what actually exists, then you have to care about the past. If you don't, you're just living in denial. And that's what most people are doing, whether there be Republicans, Democrats, left wing, right wing. They're all misguided. They're all detached and floating in the air. They have no connections to their past.
Statements from LA courts today saying when people are afraid, they won't come to court, no matter if they're charged with a crime or a witness or the victim. LA County's presiding justice saying, I am deeply disturbed. These intimidating and unnecessary displays undermine public trust in the justice system, deter people from seeking justice, and send a dangerous message to immigrant communities.
Yeah, this message they're sending is you're not welcome here. This country was not built by immigrants. It was built by settlers from Europe. Okay. And they're black slaves. That's who built this country. And so there's this crap about, simping for immigrants. We have no obligation to help anyone from foreign countries. The only obligation for you, judge, and for the justice system is to stand up for American citizens, not to worry about illegals or even immigrants. None of those people are part of this country. They are invaders into this country. Your job is to work for the native population of this land who built this country, who built the 13 colonies, and who did Western expansion and built America to what you are living in today. Everybody forgets the past. They pretend as if America fell out of the sky in the early 1900s, and they forget everything going back to the 1600s when America was actually built. Okay. And they pretend that it's only when the immigrants came that America started. No, America existed way before any immigrants came here. Okay. And the pilgrims and my ancestors who came here in they were not immigrants. They were settlers. The difference is settlers build everything from the ground up. Immigrants come and leech off everything that the settlers have built. That's the difference between an immigrant and a settler. So don't you dare say that the first people who came to America from Europe were immigrants. They were not immigrants. They were settlers. There's a difference. And the idiots on the left need to learn the difference between an immigrant and a settler. Okay, you guys need to look up definitions because you don't understand the difference between those two things. Those are not the same things.
The alternate public defender's office, which represents Reyes, adding, "It shocks the conscience to see any human violently abducted by a gang of mostly masked, unidentified individuals. Such aggressive ICE abductions threaten the integrity of the court system and discourage participation."
No, Ching Cheng, it doesn't do that. They were not abducting anybody. He had a final order of removal issued by a court. ICE was following the law by getting this drug trafficking illegal alien from Guatemala off our streets. So Chinny Cheng here is wrong and over the top and clearly a deranged person from the open borders left. Okay, that's what she just proved with her stupid comment here. Okay, abducted off the ground. Oh, please, man. So, like I said, they don't care if it's a criminal who's committed other crimes other than breaking into the country. They're still going to defend him. They could be a literal rapist. They don't care. They don't want ICE taking anybody. Okay, we got a drug trafficker being dragged away as he should be dragged away. He should have never been allowed in here, but that's a different story. But he's in here now, and ICE is trying to get him out. And a whole bunch of people, open borders people, are against it. They want the criminals to stay. Okay, I don't want them to stay. Okay, I want them shipped out ASAP. They shouldn't even get a court hearing because they shouldn't get any due process rights because they're not Americans. They shouldn't have the same rights as I do. Because I'm a citizen and he is a foreigner who doesn't belong here. And that difference matters. And that's all I got to say for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys all in my next one. Stay safe out there.